Hello, everybody. This is your stream, Mr. Steven, and welcome to another edition of the Steven Factor Live. Folks, I want to ask you a question. Do you watch the Ghostbusters? You saw the movies? You saw the cartoon series, The Real Ghostbusters, also known as Slimer and The Real Ghostbusters? But do you watch the remake of the Ghostbusters? Well, if you watch the remake of the Ghostbusters, that's fine. But if you don't watch the remake of the Ghostbusters, well, it's fine for you. Now, before I start, I want to show you this. This is the remake of the Ghostbusters 2016 version. And some people think this is Ghostbusters 3 and all kind of bullshit. No, this is the reboot of the Ghostbusters female version. Before the film is coming out, there's a big controversy during of the Ghostbusters trailer. And they just make fun all the women are sexist, feminists, and all kind of stuff trying to make this reboot. Now, just want to let you know, I want you to take a look at it. And I just realized that this reboot is not that bad. It's not great, but the movie is average. And I want to tell you something right now. Now, this is a parallel universe Ghostbusters to all the generations everywhere. And maybe some women could be Ghostbusters because women could be Ghostbusters someday. And some women could become Ghostbusters in the cartoon do exist. I know some nowadays people don't like this movie. I don't care people when criticizing this movie. But they should definitely need to shut the hell up. Now, when you take a look at this cover here. These of the special features and stuff. And there's a DVD cover it. There you go. Now, I watched this afternoon about the remake of the Ghostbusters. Now, again, this movie was completely average. It says right here on this Rotten Tomato, they're giving us a certificate for fresh, 75% of this movie. And it's not completely that bad. But the problem is, the movie is not successful. And according to the box office, it was completely, sadly disappointed. I'll read to that article for just a moment, but first let me tell you about the movie. Now, it's all about the girls. Those women will become Ghostbusters someday. They're trying to do an experiment of the ghosts and people they trying to believe in them. So they decided that they create a special new scientist called Ghostbusters. They found a monster. You know what? When I watched this Ghostbusters this afternoon, I think it was great. The action is great. The comedy is a little bit over the top. There's veterans of the Ghostbusters. Are there too. The veterans of the Ghostbusters like Ernie Anderson, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray. The dialogue is completely weak. And some of the New York references are completely familiar of. Like when Abby give Aaron a special advertisement. And it says, if you see something, say something. This is for the message from the MTA reference. And also for the terrorist reference as well too. Even Patty have a racial joke. Like when they were on a concert. And they said like, and she said like, okay, this is the racial thing, or it's a women thing, and they was trying to make me laugh. I mean, this movie is completely great. I mean, like, again, it's not so great. It's average, and pretty funny over there too. Even Slimer is there, the cameo of the Slimer, and his girlfriend showed up. And it's the return of the Stay Puft as well too. And you know, even the best part is that they're trying to reimagine of the vintage of the Times Square, just like they always do. The action is completely okay as well. They do some little bit body moves as well too, and you know it is complete incredible. Now the action is okay, so they just trying to get moving on and everything, but not standing here just like the original Ghostbusters do, and it's completely perfect as well. Um, now the actors are great, not so bad, and you know they did pretty hard as well, and they really did it. They pretty nailed it, and you know, but it's all right with me. Now the Ghostbusters just came out like in the summertime of 2016. Now during the controversy, some women, I mean, all the fans of the YouTube criticized the actor who wanted to be Ghostbusters. And the truth is, they just put the down likes and went viral. And they say they don't like the Ghostbusters, they don't like the feminists of the women version of it. They want to see the new Ghostbusters. Now, during a big controversy, they decided to make a Ghostbusters 3, but you know what? It's completely over. Now, now just want to let you know, when the movie comes out, I think this movie is not so bad. It's completely funny and a little bit. Um, it was also dark as well too, and you know the theme song's okay. Even the version of the theme song by Walk the Moon version of the Ghostbusters is not that bad. The Fallout Boys made another version of Ghostbusters. I really don't like that song. I'm not feeling like Ghostbusters move. But during the beginning of the song, they put the original version of the Ghostbusters theme song with Ray Parker Jr., but they just cut it out at least like 15 seconds or so. And also you can see all the slime just came out on your flat screen. It's like a 3D version of it, and you know they just came out like on the flat letterbox. You can see all the slime, you can see all the lasers like this, and it will pop down on the screen like so, just like you're in the 3D. And you know now it's 2D now, so you don't need no 3D glasses. So just use your imagination of it. And I really joyful, and it was a good movie, by the way. It's just an average movie, but also it's a parallel universe. You know, that's the next generation of Ghostbusters, and same thing from the Rise of the Ninja Turtles. They're part of parallel universe as well. Just like 1984, 1987, 2003, 2012. And also, yes, 2018. All these turtles are the parallel universe. But what about the Ghostbusters? They did the same thing from the Ghostbusters. 1984, 1986, 1997, the new Ghostbusters. And also the 2016 version of Ghostbusters. Because all the Ghostbuster franchise are the parallel universe. Now, also, back in the days, the Ghostbusters been started on back in 1984 when the Columbia Picture shows up and all the rights of the Ghostbusters. And that's why Sony shows up and they make the partnership with Columbia Pictures. And Sony is become one of the worst companies of all time. They made a lot of money, but also there's a little bit of bankruptcy. And I have a feeling that the remake of the Ghostbusters won't make the cut into the box office because the movie was unsuccessful. Now I check this article from Forbes, and it says Ghostbusters is sadly a disappointed. I have to read some of it if I will, but I will check it out. It's apparently time to call time of death for Ghostbusters, the Sony franchise reboot, their big play for summer of 2016, has earned 180 million bucks worldwide. Thus far, including a 116 million domestic, with the only France, Japan, and Mexico remaining. At this juncture, it is presumed that the picture will crawl to around 225 million worldwide, around 1.56 times the 144 million budget, which according to the Hollywood Reporter will be a loss around of $70 million. Even if the number turns out to be a bit high, Sony will argue it is a lot less than that. The female front reboot is not the leggy hit that I thought it will be. It breaks my heart to say this, but the Ghostbusters is pretty much a bomb. Which is also known as this movie was unsuccessful. Although, to be fair, there are financial issues in the play. The toys sold pretty well, and you can make the case that the Paul Feig and Katie Diplop film resonates pop culture interest in the brand itself, which was the point of the Evador in the first place. But the film will barely make 125 million domestic off a 46 million debut weekend, which is a 2.7 times weekend to final multiplier, as fair as a month ago to film play not like Melissa McCarthy's legged comedies The Heat, The Identity Thief, Spy, but like The Boss, a 2.68 times multiplier, or Scarlett Johansson's Lucy. Just give me 1 second, folks. Okay. That science fiction actioner snag a 2.88 multiplier for a 126.6 million, come off a 43.8 million opening weekend. The massively successful 463 worldwide Universal Comcast Corporation release was a original R-rated to the offering that cost Europera Corp and French just 40 million. It could even manage to be legally and Adam Sandler's vagally similar Pixels, which earned 78 million from a 20 million debut last July. The film made for 244 million worldwide, which is a total that Ghostbusters will probably not reach. The film was slight disappointing in North America, but it was a lack of overseas interest that crushed this one. And to me, oh wow. Take a look at this one. There's no reason that Sony should have spent 144 million on the new Ghostbusters reboot, like Warner Bros., Time Warner, Paramount, Viacom, Star Trek, whatever. A massive overspend has caused a relatively crowd-pleasing, and someone will like offering into a costly miss, or at least a expensive disappointed. Ghostbusters cost so much that had to perform to absolute peak potential with no room for error to make money. It didn't so it won't. And now potentially promising that franchise will at least one breakout character like Kay McKinnon and Jillian Hotsman is basically on the back burner. Now, folks, that is a long article, and I believe that the problem of the situation about this movie is the Sony fault. I think Sony is the one who messed the money up. I think Sony is taking too much time and very impatient about this movie. And I think Peter Fig had a big mistake of his life to reboot this, the female version of the Ghostbusters. Now, again, I said I watched the movie. It was great. And now they said they get more extended edition on Blu-ray too. So I don't have no Blu-ray shit. So who cares? The special effects are great too. So I really like that. But again, the movie is completely average. It's underrated. The Ghostbusters didn't make the cut, but also the movie is not completely success. I mean, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, for instance. But let me tell you something. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles become a total badass. They made a 1990 movie, and they become a number one on the top of the box office. That's good. Same thing for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. But what about the remakes? The first remake made number one, and also Out of the Shadows of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made also number one. Also, they become a wonderful, phenomenal hit. Thanks to Nickelodeon, Paramount, and also the parent company of Variety.com too. But I will not get back to that. But I just want to give you the example. The problem is of the Sony is they have bankruptcy. Okay, now Sony made bad movies. Like, for example, like the Emoji Movie. They may become one of the worst movies ever. The Ghostbusters remake. Yes, it is good. Don't worry about it. It's good. It's average. That's okay. I remember my friends wore the Ghostbusters, and they saw it. And guess what? The movie is good, but I didn't even check it out. Since I bought this shit on Walmart, I decided that I get a chance to watch it, and it was great. But it's not so great because Sony become one of the worst, lousy SOBs company in the entire universe. They spent off the millions and millions of dollars, and now they losing everything. And everything is terrible. They made so many toys on sales. They made sponsors of some restaurants like Dave and Buster's. That because Sony has a contract with them to people want to watch this movie, and they definitely going to see it. That's how the money goes in Hollywood, man. And Sony was one of them. Money. They want to urge people to hire Peter Fig. Who's that? Yeah, Paul Fig. I'm sorry. Paul Fig to reboot this movie. And they believe that this movie becomes... And they think that this movie will become a huge success. But it is not success. It is underrated. It's terrible. The dialogue is terrible. The action is great. I mean, like, they working so hard to make this movie, but it's not all about the women and all kind of dirty language on YouTube, all kind of bull crap. It's all about the fans who grew up so badly become Ghostbusters. Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, I always loved Ghostbusters. That was my shit back in the days. And when this movie became a wonderful successful, it was great. Ghostbusters 84, it was great. Ghostbusters 2, not so great, but they keep trying. Ghostbusters 2016, no, underrated, unsuccessful, nothing, nada. It's completely nothing. But listen, I love the movie. I mean, it's completely good. But when I look at this article, I can't believe that movie was very disappointed. And I felt so sorry about those actors. And when they watched the news, it was completely terrible. And it's not about Paul's fault, okay? They're very disappointed. And what he did is hard, and he tried the best. But it's not about him. It's not about the actors. It's the company itself, Sony. And remember, Columbia Pictures started with Ghostbusters for over 30 years ago. And that's how Sony have a partnership with Columbia Pictures. And they make a good team. But look what happened now. Sony become one of the worstest piece of shit in the universe in this 21st century. And even the Emoji Movie was so bad too. They losing everything. Think about it. Sony is gonna lose some money. Watch. I mean, I thought that movie was great. I mean, it's good. Cool energy and everything. But the special effects is good too. But I don't care what the critics say. This movie is about the fans who grew up the Ghostbusters. And I really love it. It's not so bad. I mean, I love reboots, but some movies are not so great, but they need a little bit more energy, man. And even you know what movies, and even one of the movies were not successful as well. The Adventures of Animal in the Grouchland. Now, just want to let you know, Sesame Street and the Muppets have partnership with Sony as well. And yes, the movie is okay, not that bad. It's for the kids, for the whole family. But they're not in box office as well. It was an underrated movie. But this one right here is an underrated movie also. This is even worse than Rocky 5. Jesus. And you know what? Don't blame this movie. Blame Sony, folks. Just blame Sony. And this is for all the YouTubes and everywhere. If you watch this trailer and you dislike, said, oh no, this is the female version of Ghostbusters, blah blah blah, I hope this movie's gonna suck. Yes, it's gonna suck because this movie didn't make the cut. That because they're not part in the box office. But let me tell you, that movie is good. If you rewatch it again, you could know how the Ghostbusters really is all about. And that's sick, yo. That movie was completely sick. But remember, don't blame that movie. It's Sony. Sony will gonna lost millions and millions of dollars, man. They make a worse disappointment in the box office. And you know what? If you don't want to have a partnership with Sony, hey, here's what you're going to do. If you're working from Columbia, Paramount, Viacom, here's what you're definitely going to tell Sony. Say this. Sony, I think we're having a little bit of agreements and disagreements here. But I think we're not going to work with you anymore because the money is going down the drain. I think this movie will not become successful. And we should probably think about it before you want to accept the offer. And to tell you the truth, I've been a fan of Sony too. Because when I was a kid, I loved Sony Wonder. And you know what that building is? It's like a park. Well, Sony Wonder is like a electronical place. And you can see so many activities and what you guys have. And I remember I went to Sony Wonder when I was a kid, when I was like in junior high in 6th grade. And it's completely great. and I really enjoyed it. But during it nowadays, they have a big mistake. Sony's gotta go, and they need to get the act together. So, while I'm going to grade this movie, I give this movie a 3 stars because again, it's just average movie. It's not very great as well. It's just underrated, average, but it's very fun to watch. And this movie belongs to the fans and generations of Ghostbusters everywhere. And you know what? This movie's been rated PG-13 language, so you know it's alright with me. But it's for the kids and the adults. So, but you know what? It's for the fans. I don't care. It doesn't matter about the stupid box office. It's all about the money, and that's why Sony messed it up. And I gotta go. This is your stream, Mr. Steven saying todo para la familia, and thank you for watching this Steven Factor Live. And all these actors did a good job. But again, the movie's average. I don't care. Sony has gotta go. Bye.